Lino printing, registration. So this is a registration page. That's the top of it. This is the registration. Your lino is placed here and your paper is placed on top of the lino. So a registration page is something that is put into the printing press because we want all of our prints to look the same. Your lino and paper are placed on top of this registration page. This keeps your prints consistent. Additions. An addition is the number of prints in a print run. Printmakers usually print a set of prints. The first print is labelled AP or artist proof. An artist proof is the first time you've printed it, the first time you've inked up your lino and you've printed it. You'll be able to see if you have, for example, carved deeply enough. If you're happy with how it looks, then you can print as normal. If you're not happy with it, you can go wash the ink off your lino because it's water-based ink, and then you can start the carving process again. If you are happy with how it has printed for your artist proof, then if, for example, you want to print an edition of 3, that's 3 prints on 3 bits of paper. Your first print is labelled in the following way. So you have the date, you have your name or your title of your print, and the edition number is in the right bottom corner. So the first print is labelled 1/3, then 2/3, then 3/3, which is the last print in an edition of 3. Brush lino. It's important that you brush your lino before you start inking it up. This gets rid of all the bits and dust. Simple to do. Grab a little broom, brush over the top, done. Inking up. So there's a number of equipment items that you need. So you need a palette knife, printing ink, which is water-based ink, block ink, a soft roller, and a glass plate. You can see we've got the ink, opening up the jar, using the palette knife to stir up the ink. That's important. You're then going to put some of the ink onto your glass plate. Using your soft roller, you are going to roll it back and forth both ways. You're trying to get a consistency that looks a little bit like orange peel. I've got a little bit too much ink there, so I'm going to put a little bit back into my pot. I'm going to try and get a nice consistent layer of ink. And once I'm happy, I roll over the top of my lino. I want to make sure that I'm consistently rolling the ink over the top, so it actually goes over all parts of the surface, including the corners. It's okay if it's going over some of the bits that you've carved. It's quite nice when we have prints that have that. You want to roll your roller in both directions. That way you know that you have completely covered your lino. The next step is using the printing press. So this is the printing press at our school. This bit's really important. So you'll note that there is a little bit of space with these grooves or teeth at the end of the press. We do not want our press to be rolled all the way where this plate comes out. If that happens, we'll have to call the groundsman because it's not an easy fix. They have to pull the whole press apart. So please be very aware of how much you're rolling your the press. The other part that's really important is tension. So the tension is important because it needs to be pushing basically on top consistently on both sides. There is a tension part at the top of each side. You can see that this is about 1 centimetre. We want to make sure that it's about 1 centimetre when you're printing. So we print. So we've got the blankets, we're pulling them back one at a time. So this is our printmaking bed. You can see we've got the registration page in the middle. I'm putting my piece of lino at the top, placing it on top of the lino part. I'm then placing my already drawn up edition page, and I'm letting the paper just sit. I can't pick it up and replace it once it's done. Newspaper down, the first blanket down, second blanket down, the bed is made. I'm rolling my press through. I'm going to feel for where my lino is. I can feel we've gone through. I'm simply rolling it back. We only have to do it once. Undo the blanket, second blanket, newspaper, and then you are lifting up your print, and then you can see what it looks like. So there can be some issues when you're printing. So these are two examples of prints that have got some issues in it. The first one has not enough ink or not rolled to the edge when they printed. So you can see there's a big edge there. The other part that's happened is they did not brush their lino prior to inking up. So that little dot there with the halo is a piece of lino. This one has only one tiny issue. It's bled. This means that the ink has gone into the parts that have been carved. We don't particularly want that to happen. If it does happen, you'll need to wash up your lino and let it dry and then print again next week. It needs to be dry. You can't put a wet piece of lino back through the printing press, otherwise it'll get all gushy and wet and ruin the next person's prints. So your print should be clean. There should be no bleeds. The ink should have full coverage over the print, and you should have your edition information down the bottom with the date, your name, and your edition number. Next steps. So print your edition. This is your set number of prints. Might be 3, might be 5. Place each print on the drying rack. Once you've finished, wash your lino and place it in the sink rack to dry. Clean up the glass plate by scraping the ink back into its pot with a palette knife, and then wash the glass plate carefully into the sink. Wash your palette knife and the soft roller as well. Thank you.